With production ramping up on his new film, the Hateful Eight director Quentin Tarantino is once again talking about his upcoming retirement. In a recent interview, he said the following: "I don't believe you should stay on stage until people are begging you to get off. I like the idea of leaving them wanting a bit more. I do think directing is a young man's game, and I like the idea of an umbilical cord connection from my first to my last movie. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone who thinks differently, but I want to go out while I'm still hard. I like that I will leave a 10-film filmography, and so I've got 2 more to go after this. It's not etched in stone, but that is the plan. If I get to the 10th, do a good job, and don't screw it up, well, that sounds like a good way to end the old career." John, what do you think of Tarantino's comments?
Well, on the one hand, you know, I like that everything he's saying is right. I mean, you want to go when you're leaving wanting a little bit more. I like the idea of sounds like having a 10-film set. That's a nice round number and all that kind of stuff. I get it, I buy that, but who's he kidding? He's not going to retire. How many times have we heard famous musicians or directors or actors or whatever saying, "Oh, I'm retiring now"? He's not going to retire. He's not going to, no, he's not. And he even said in his own comment, he left that door open. Yeah, he goes, not etched in stone, but, and then I think later on, he said, now, if I've done 10 films and a great idea for a movie comes along, I'm not going to not do it just because I said I was only going to do 10. So then you're not retired, really. You mean you're not going to make any more movies unless you have a really good idea for a new movie? Isn't that what you do right now? So, and I'm glad he's not. But the one thing he said in this comment that I take very big issue with, Tarantino, you 51-year-old man, is this notion that, oh, directing's for young guys. Directing's for young guys, right? It reminded me the other day, I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher, but I don't hate Bill Maher, I'm not a big fan of him, but he went on this big rant the other day about ageism in our culture, whereas every other culture in our world understands, you venerate and you celebrate people who are older, more experienced, wiser, all that kind of stuff, except our culture. You know, we follow Justin Bieber. So, and he talks about how, you know, you look at the greatest, the biggest, the most brilliant minds, they're all older because they've been around longer, right? So this whole idea that directing is a young man's game. Okay, just a couple of names I jotted down here, okay? Joss Whedon is 50 years old. All right. Steven Spielberg is 67. Martin Scorsese is 71. Clint Eastwood won an Academy Award for Best Director at the age of 76. And at the age of 84, he's got American Sniper coming out right now. David Fincher is 52. Peter Jackson is 53. Wes Anderson is a baby at 45. Terrence Malick is 71. Paul Thomas Anderson. Tarantino himself, I said, is 51. And Nolan, who is also a baby, is 44. But he's only getting better as he goes. Like, we were just talking about this beforehand, like Interstellar, why I didn't love Interstellar, the same Christopher Nolan who directed The Dark Knight would not have done as good of a job directing Interstellar as a 44-year-old Christopher Nolan did directing other stuff. So I don't buy into this whole thing that directing is just a young man's game. No, no, give me older, more seasoned directors who have been there, done that, understand storytelling and the genre better. Not that there aren't great young filmmakers too, there are. But this whole notion that he's going to retire, I love the sentiment of leave the stage and leave him wanting more. Love the sentiment, but he ain't going to retire. Anyway, Schnepp, you've heard his comments. What do you think?
He's not going to retire. He's just not going to retire. I mean, he's gone on record saying, and I agree that sometimes directors and writers and actors will stay in the game too long. So that's what he's referencing that. Mm-hmm. But what he should not be, what he should be throwing in is Miyazaki, who retired and now he just came out of retirement to say, look, I'm going to be doing anime.
After he retired for like 1 year.
For 1 year, but then he realized, I'm going to be doing anime until I die. Yeah. And if it's in your blood, it's in your blood. And you might say that because you're kind of thinking about it, but he's thinking about it outside of himself. I think that when people say these kinds of things, like Kevin Smith said he was retiring, it's because it's all, they're looking in the mirror. It's not all this outside stuff. It's them saying, I feel like I want to stay, you know, I want my, like you said, the 10-box set. I don't want to make a stinker movie. That's the worry of it. Like, I want to retire before I screw up. It's like, you'll never know that. Your next movie could suck. Yeah. It could totally blow, and then your next 5 would be incredible and amazing. So you have to always be ready to take those risks. Or if you're not, like he's saying, he's like, I want to go out while I'm still hard, and I got my, you know, everything working right. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a weird thing to say, especially when he's like right at this amazing area in his career. He's just projecting. He's like, maybe I got 3 movies left. That's 7 years. I'm 60. I don't want to be doing this. Who knows? But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's He's just saying that. I mean, he probably truly believes it, otherwise he wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it.
And you know what? I'll stand in the minority. Tarantino's another guy, like Nolan, that I think his directing, not necessarily the films overall, but I believe his directing is getting better and better and better. Like,
Yes.
like Django Unchained is not just a great movie, great script, like the direction in that movie is incredible. And I want to see him directing till he's in his late 70s.
Inglourious Bastards. It was just on for 5 minutes. I was like, I'll watch it. I watched the entire movie.
And
I was
Mark.
Yeah, look, this is, oh, good. It's my turn to talk. Okay. No, look, I think that this is just what happens when you put somebody who loves to talk on stage and he keeps talking. You're going to say stupid stuff eventually.
Yeah.
It happens to me on a daily basis. Like, you get into this world and you're like, oh, no, then maybe I'll retire after this or after this. And your mind starts thinking and you start saying these words and you're like, oh, my God, did I just announce my retirement? Yes, filmmaking is an exhausting process. So I imagine that at various points in his career, he's been like, this is the last one. He might have said, I'm done after Jackie Brown. He might have been, I can't do this anymore. And then you start to rest, you recuperate. This is what happens. And as far as the ageism thing goes, it's crazy to think that, oh no, directing's a young man's game. There's a lot of great young directors that are coming on that aren't as known as the guys that you mentioned, but that's not going to force out anybody, especially somebody with the stature of a Quentin Tarantino. He could be directing into his 90s, into his 100s if he wanted to, if he was still alive. And people would see the movie because they like his vision.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.